Welcome back. So in this session, let us look into step parameters. You are going to need this thing all over your test when you are working on Behave. You are probably going to use this a lot. So this is actually a very important topic for Behave. So let's move ahead. So in Behave, step parameters are actually placeholders in our feature file steps. This allows us to pass values dynamically from our Gherkin feature scenarios to our step definitions. These parameters are enclosed in double quotes in the feature file steps and are matched with corresponding expressions in our step definition files. We will see that how to use that with an example. So you can use various type of step parameters such as integers, floats, strings, and more by specifying the type within the curly braces in the step definitions. And Behave will replace the step parameters in the feature scenarios with actual values, and these values are passed as arguments to our step definitions. The expressions defined in our step definitions are used to match and extract these values. So let's go ahead and see with an example what I am talking about in here. Okay. So let us create a feature file first in our feature directory. So features is here. So let me create a new file and let us actually name this as step underscore parameters dot feature. Okay. And let me put down our feature file with these scenarios quickly in here. And then I will try to explain it one by one. Okay. So here is our step parameters dot feature file, and here we will look into string manipulation with this example. Now this does not have any step definition functions right now. This is only your feature file. Okay, so first scenario, we are trying to concatenate two strings, and you can see a given, and, when, then, and, but here. So I have a string hello, and then I have another string world, and then we concatenate these two strings, and then I should see the result, which is see the final string of hello world without any space in here. And then but I have put in here that I should not have an empty result. Okay, the result should not be empty. This is just for a demo in here. Now we have two scenarios in here. So again, in the scenario to convert string to uppercase, given I have a string Python, and similar to I have a string hello. So for these two given statements, I will need to write only one step definition function. So using step parameters. So that is one of the benefit of these step parameters. You pass this as a variable, and automatically in the step definition it is going to resolve to the correct value and going to execute your test. Now let us look into writing our first scenario definitions. Okay, let's go to our steps folder and let us try to create our Python module here. So our norm is starting with steps, and then our feature file name is step underscore params dot py file, and we'll hit enter. So first line, we usually import all these things from Behave. From Behave import, we'll import given, then we'll import when, and we'll import then. Okay, so these three we have imported. So for starting with the first one, I have a string. So let us try to write that one first. So at the rate given, and then we will write I have a string, and this is where we will write our step parameter. So double quotes and then curly braces. And within curly braces we will put in text. So this is a string value, right? We are taking. So we'll take it as a text. Now I haven't closed this curly braces or the step parameters properly, so I close it with this double quote. Okay, so that's the thing here. So here we are not directly taking the string whatever is defined in our feature file. So let us go to the step parameter file, and you can see I have a string hello here, right? Hello. It's within the double quotes. So I am taking it as a variable in here, and you can see it here. So let me see if this screen, let me try to adjust this one properly. Split left. So let me right click on this one and try to do split left. Okay. So here you can see your step params dot feature file, and here on the left hand side I am trying to write our step definition functions. So I have a string hello, and I have a string, and I am taking this as a variable. as a step parameter, and I'll try to write our test. So for our Python function, I will keep it as simple. Initialize string I'll put. You can put whatever suits you better. Context, which we will talk about in a later session, and then we'll take our variable text, which is given in our given keyword. Okay. Now in our function, we will do context dot string one. We'll define a new context variable string one, and we'll take our text value in this one. Also, in the same time, we are going to take initialize our result. So the final result we will initialize in our given function. Okay, so I'll just make it as text. I can leave it as empty also, but I'll initialize with some value, the initial value text. And in this case, in the first scenario, it will take it as hello. Okay, for now, up till this step definition function. Next thing, we need to write our second function, which is, and I have another string hello world. I have another string world. So let me just quickly put it down in here. Now given I have another string, up till here it is same, and then finally we are taking the last word in here, world, using our step parameter. So this is also taking as text, and then it's the same thing. Initialize string. I have put in the same name, which works actually in Behave. But if you want, you can actually put a better name, or if you want to have different function names also, that is also okay. Okay. Context dot string 2 I have named. String 1 already defined here. So string 2 we are defining, and then I am taking the text value which is coming from this given definition. Now, next thing is we need to write our next step when I concatenate the two strings. Okay, so let me actually put that also quickly. So when I concatenate the two strings, def concatenate string context we are using, and then context.result. So context.result we have already defined earlier in our first step. So we are using that, and then we are actually concatenating the two strings, context.string1, which we defined in our first function, and then context.string2, which we defined in our second one. That is, in our given I have another string. Now the final thing which we need to do is I should have the result hello world. I should have the result hello world. So let me quickly put that down as well. Then I should have the result hello world. I should have the result, then expected result. So I put in the variable expected here within the curly braces, and then check result context expected. So this expected is going to come from our scenario definition here. Then I should have the result. This is going to take the hello world, and then we already have our result context.result from our previous step concatenate string, and then we are in this final then statement we are trying to assert here. Assert context.result equals expected. So this should be matching. If it is not matching, then it is going to fail our test. So that's about the whole test. But in my case here, I have also given I should not have an empty result. So let me also put that in here. So I should not have an empty result. So let me quickly put it down here. I should not have an empty result. Here we are not taking any values in here because this is the full statement. There is nothing to take here from our step definitions. So check not empty result. We are just taking the context and then the result. We are checking the context.result, which we already have from our previous steps. Context.result is not equals to null or empty. So that's the full test in here. So our first scenario is actually complete. All our step definitions are properly defined and all our functions are properly defined. So let us actually try to run this one by clicking on this play button. Click to run test, right click for more options. Okay, so let me click on this one and let's try to make it a little bit bigger, and looks like concatenate two strings is a pass. This is the test result step, and even you can go to the output and you can see here one feature passed, 0 failed, one scenario passed. We just ran only one scenario here, and 0 failed, one skipped. We didn't run this one, second one, because we don't have the step definition functions as till now, and then 5 steps passed. Okay, so this is having 5 steps in here. Okay, cool, right? So that's the first test using the step parameter. Now we are going to write our second test. Now this is the beauty of step parameters, which you are going to see here. Now we already have, I have a string Python here for which we have already defined. I have a string Python. This is going to work. We already defined context.string1 and context.result also. So we can either use context.string1 or result in our subsequent step function based on our need. Next thing, or next function, when I convert it to uppercase, we just need to write only one step function here when I convert it to uppercase. So let me quickly write that down as well, and then I will talk about it. Okay. So here is our test. Here is our function when I convert it to uppercase, and def convert to uppercase context we are taking, and then context.result equals to context.result.upper. Now, if you remember in our first given function, I have written context.string1 equals to text and context.result equals to text. We are also initializing the context.result in here. So we can just convert the context.result, and then we can just make it context.result.upper. Upper is a function which will actually make all the string as uppercase. So here we are using the Python function, and then we are converting the string whatever we get from this scenario, in this case Python, and converting it to Python. So our result will have that uppercase Python in this case. Okay. Now we just need to write only one function, right? So, and next thing is then I should have the result Python. I should have the result Python. I should have the result expected. We are taking it as a variable. So step parameter, and then here assert context.result equals to expected. So our context.result from our previous step in our second scenario is I converted to uppercase. So context.result is already having the correct expected result here. So I should have the result should match assert context.result equals to expected. So this should pass. And then finally, I should not have an empty result. Finally, this is another function which we have already talked in our previous session. Okay. This second scenario is also complete in this case. So let us try to run this one again. Run this second scenario, make it a little bigger, and you can see the result, and looks like this one is also passed. Convert string to upper, this is passed, and you can also check it in the output. You can see one feature passed, one scenario passed, 0 failed, 1 skipped, 4 steps passed. So we just needed to write for only once, and then all our tests of both the scenarios are already done. Okay, so that's one of the benefit of using Behave. But the thing here is you need to be careful while writing this test because there can be problems. So in my case, if you remember, in the given statement we have already defined context.result. If you didn't define this one, then you would need to use context.string1 in your next step function. So you need to take care of that while writing your test. So that's about using these step parameters, and in this case we were using only string related variables. In the subsequent session, we will see how to use other data types of Python. So that's about it. We have seen how to use step parameters with Behave, and thank you, and we'll see you in the next session.